So we baby boomers invented some weird technology, though. We invented the 911 emergency dialing system, right? Yeah, which sounds like a good idea, except we invented 911 at a time when we had rotary dial phones. I'm wondering how many people we lost waiting on that 9 to roll around.
When I started out doing stand-up comedy, I literally had no idea what I was doing. I didn't come from an entertainment family, and I had no connection to the industry. In fact, I'd only been in 2 plays in my whole life. In elementary school. Yeah, one was Oliver Twist, where I was one of the kids at the workhouse where he lived, and the other one was Macbeth. I was the messenger in Macbeth, and I didn't like my role at all, so I traded with the guy playing King. Yeah, the teacher almost lost her mind. She's like, "You can't trade roles. That's not how theater works." We traded back, but I just hated being the messenger because the only line I had in the play was stupid, I thought. Yeah, it was when I delivered bad news to Macbeth, and I had to say, "Let me endure your wrath." I hated that line. And in fact, on opening night, I refused to say it on stage. I can still hear the teacher backstage hissing at me to say the line. Needless to say, I wasn't in any more plays, and that was fine. So when I got into comedy, as I said, I really didn't know what I was doing. Luckily, my friend Rob, who started comedy at the same time as me, was in the same boat, so we learned together. One day, Rob told me, "We need headshots." I said, "What's that?" He said, "It's a shot of your head." Okay, fine, let's get them. Rob did his research, this was before the internet, and he found us a great photographer who happened to live down the street from me. The guy had super good credentials, and in fact, he'd been a photographer on several USO tours. So Rob called him, and he sounded great, so we set up the appointment and got him done. The pictures turned out fantastic. At least the quality was good. I had 90s hair and was wearing a turtleneck, so they're kind of embarrassing now. There was just one issue, though. I sent them out to some clubs I was performing in, and one club called me and said they couldn't use the shots because it had a copyright with the photographer's name down in the corner. The club owner couldn't send them to the newspapers or anything because they wouldn't print them with a copyright. So I had to put together a letter stating that I owned the copyright. That worked, but it was a pain in the butt, and some clubs just didn't bother getting my letter. They just didn't use my headshots. And remember, there was no Photoshop or scanning back then. I still used them for about 2 years, but then I decided to get new ones. I went to the same photographer, and I told him that I wanted pictures, but no copyright. He agreed, then he took the pictures and then tried to bully me into letting him put his copyright on the bottom. I said, "No, I can't get any publicity if the newspapers won't print them." We ended up having a huge argument. Finally, I came up with a solution. I said, "Okay, put it on there, but the first time a club says they won't use them or they need a letter, then he, the photographer, has to reprint them without the copyright at his own expense." At the time, pictures were very expensive to print, and he said no, he didn't want to do that. So after more arguing, he finally conceded and gave them to me without his copyright at the bottom. But it was a hassle, and there were very hard feelings for both of us. The takeaway from this is that sure, you should use professionals when you're working on projects, but remember, there may be things in their profession that they automatically do that don't work for you. I had no idea this photographer had to have his name on everything. I learned that finding a great professional isn't always enough. You need to be on the same page about the project. That's it for this episode. Thanks for listening. Feel free to check out my website, theworklady.com. This is Jan. Take care and enjoy your journey.